y'all, it has been over a week, maybe, almost, since I have sat down to film for you guys, and I feel so out of my element right now. So, I thought, I'm feeling a little talkative, and I thought, you know what, let's sit down and do that juicy little story time that they was waiting on and play with the new ColourPop palette. I've got a whole other thing here of more affordable makeup to play with, and I just figured you guys will be down for it. So if you're new here, what is up? My name is Tash. I hope that you will stick around and hang out for the story time, play with some new makeup, and hit the subscribe button before you go, and the bell, that way you're not missing out on any of my future uploads. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, you guys, so how you doing? How are you doing? I tell you, if I go a week, 4 to 5 days to a week, that's pretty much a week without filming, I just feel weird when I come back in here, you know what I mean? I'm so used to talking to my camera all the time now, and it's just become a huge part of my life. So if I'm not sitting here talking to you guys, it feels weird, right? It feels weird when you know, you're not talking to your best friend. So I also picked up a couple more things. I did pick up the That's Taupe palette. I had to have this, you guys. It was on sale. And then I also picked up this new blush. This is the Super Shock blush in Georgette. Very, very pretty. I really thought it was going to be close to quarters, but thankfully it's not. This is a lot brighter. Kind of reminds me of like a poppy kind of a orangish color. And then quarters I picked up because of Alexis Jada, which I love. Anything she recommends, I'm like, girl. So yeah, I got that. And then I did pick up one of their gel cream liners. If you have not tried those, they are so good. They're so good. So I picked up Red Rock. I've been wanting to get into more colorful liners, so picked that up. It's kind of like a reddish brown. It's really pretty. But yeah, so I picked that up, and I don't know, when I saw this You're Golden, it just kind of spoke to me. So I mean, I got it for like 30% off the day that it launched. They were having a sale. So yeah, I told y'all, sign up for the websites, watch them sales. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna go off camera, prime, do my eyebrows, all that fun stuff you've already seen me do 100 times. And then we are gonna play with this beauty right here. So I will tell you, if you are looking at the That's Taupe palette, it's literally right here, minus a couple of shades. So yeah, and I'm sure there's a couple more of these browner shades in here that can compensate for that. So I didn't notice that. I just zoomed in on the middle of the palette. Let's get into some makeup, because I'm gonna talk too much. All right, y'all, so my eyes are primed, all that jiggity jazz goodness. Ooh, I need something on my lips though, and I don't know. Oh, here it is, thank goodness. You know how sometimes your lips just be feeling dry, like, girl, ooh, I can't do it. So I'm just going to take a little bit of this sleep mask from Revolution. It's the Berry Sleeping Mask for your lips. I'm telling y'all, I stopped by on Laneige when I tried these. I have both, and they are game changers. I like to use them as balms during the day, as well as put them on at night. I have one by my chair that I be napping in, and when I'm chilling for the night, I throw this on. They're super thick and super hydrating. Just, sorry about the light, you guys. Just like the Laneige, and oh man, they're so good, you guys. So I'm trying something a little different with my lights today. You'll have to bear with me a little bit. I took some tips from Jessica Braun. I'm trying to light up the background. I need someone to help me with lighting. I've bought stuff, you guys, and it just, I don't know. I really need someone to come over and help me with lighting. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this palette. The story time that we're going to be getting into today, I've actually changed my mind, because to me this is kind of a good one too. This one is about the boss that me over so bad. Like, this is the ultimate betrayal, okay? When I tell y'all about this bitch, you're gonna be like, huh? Wait, what? So let's go on and get in to the story. So, okay, I got you guys all in. We're gonna start with the eyes. I will leave everything that I'm using makeup-wise, shade-wise, down below. Okay, and yeah, we're gonna get into the stories. So, when I got ready to move out to Texas, I was pretty much just done with the people around me, and I'm not really talking about family per se. I'm talking about the people in my life, like the boyfriend and you know, friends, friends, all that. Okay, so my aunt and uncle were living out there. Long story short, she's really my cousin, but it's a long story of why I call her my aunt. Or my aunt. My auntie. Anywho, me and her have always been super close since we were kids. And basically it was like, I sold everything in my apartment and I took clothes and I went out to Texas to start a new life. I stayed with her for like, I don't know, maybe 3 months, stacked some money, and I basically had a job before I moved out there, because the places that I was applying at thought that I was already living in Texas, because I waited until I was gonna be there like a week, or I started applying like a week prior to me moving out there, because I have to have a job. Like, I have to have a job, a job, okay? Or I don't feel like I'm contributing to society, man. Like, yeah. So, got a job, like I said, stacking money, staying with her and whatnot, and I pretty much started my job within days of moving out there. So, pretty much was hired over the phone, and I think that was due to my hotel experience. I knew when I went to my interview that I had the job, pretty much. So this older lady, she was probably in her 60s, I want to say mid 60s when we met, and there was something about her, we just clicked, and it felt like I was at home, you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt, when I met her, and I'd been working in hotels for at least 5 years prior to meeting her, and I've never felt at home at a hotel. You know what I mean? Like, when you work in the hospitality business, or when you have a good place that, you know, you're employed at, you feel like family, you feel at home. You know what I mean? And I'd never ever felt that before. And when I met her, it felt like that type of setting. And so she had hired me to start working second shift there. The hotel was super busy, bumping and jumping all the time. I've told you guys about this hotel before in my last story time. It was always super busy because we were in walking distance to the American Airlines Center, which is where the Dallas Mavericks play. Tons of concerts go on there. I actually got to see Mariah Carey there. Ooh. And so, yeah, back to her. I just felt super close to her. It was like, when I met her, it was like we knew each other. You know what I'm saying? Like, we'd known each other for years. We were cracking up in the interview. And so when I went on second shift, I don't know, you guys, we just clicked. And she was like a much older sister, if that makes sense. I mean, she was all about that, you know, you got to do your job and stuff. But I was pretty responsible with stuff like that. I knew I had to keep a job, and I wanted to get my own place and stuff like that. And so I followed the rules. So, you know, time goes by. It's been well over a year. I've been working for her, and we're super, super close. And basically, I started meeting people within my first year of living in Dallas. And when I tell y'all, I lived in the hood, okay? I lived in the hood. And it was a hop, skip, and a jump not having a car out there. If you don't know Texas or the Metroplex area, it's big. Everything is much bigger in Texas, okay? And so it's big and very spread out. And so when you live there, you almost have to have a car. Or you gonna travel by bus and train, and it's gonna take your ass a minute. So I was not big on that. That drove me absolutely crazy. It took me sometimes an hour and a half to 2 hours just to make the trip to work in downtown. And well, it was more uptown if you're from the area, but still, it was too much. Oh man, I mean, it was cheap to do, but it's hot as hell out there. I mean, when I'm working second shift, I'm walking around Oak Cliff at night, and no, baby, no, it was not. It wasn't good. It really wasn't good. It really wasn't safe for me to be doing all that. And I mean, it was 12, 1 o'clock, sometimes 2 in the morning when, you know, whatever the last bus pickup is, I don't even remember. But I had to walk through this dark ass park to get home, and it was just really frightening. Like, I hated it. So at some point, which that's a whole another story time, but I met somebody and they basically helped me move out of my aunt's. And pretty much at that time, my aunt and her ex-husband, now at the time we're not seeing eye to eye. I wanted a life. I worked my ass off all the time. I mean, if I could work overtime, I was at work. And I started to meet people, and I wanted to have more of a life. And I think she was worried about me getting in with the wrong people, which I completely understand. And her husband, the same thing. And basically, I wanted to be able to come and go as I pleased. I worked my ass off. I saved all of my money. I didn't do a whole lot. And I thought it was time for me to move out and get my own place. My aunt was absolutely amazing. And her and I still have a great relationship. You know, we're close in age, and she changed my life by letting me have that experience moving out there. So I did wind up moving into the hotel that I worked at because it was pretty much a long-term stay hotel. It was safe for me to be there because pretty much all of our clientele is business clientele for the most part, except for, you know, when you get into the American Airlines Center, having events and the basketball games. I mean, we filled up quick with that. But the majority, again, of our clientele is business clientele. So we had a lot of contracts with like all these different companies, a lot of businessmen from the uptown area, all the businesses and stuff that were up there. We had contracts with all of those. And I mean, we're talking Rolex, you know what I'm saying? So there wasn't a lot of, you know, poor people coming in there. I don't mean to put it that way, but Dallas can be a dangerous city if you're not careful. And, you know, that was one thing that my father blessed me with, was street smart. So, wasn't too worried, but, it was just a lot easier for me to live on property. And so we got a hell of a rate. Our rate was $25. So was it expensive for me to live uptown, even at work? Hell yeah, it was expensive. But it was like a mini apartment. It had a separate bedroom and separate living room, a kitchen. I had everything I needed right there. And instead of, you know, taking the train 2.5 hours every day, I just went upstairs. And it sucked living at work though too, because there would be times where coworkers would become ill, and I would find myself behind the desk in my PJs working. And it was just crazy. So I worked for this lady there for 3 or 4 years, I believe. And I had ended up moving home. I got homesick like crazy. I moved home for a year and went right back out. Moving home was not the best for me. My boss and I, ex-boss now, stayed in contact that whole time. When I went back out to Texas, she rehired me right away. So still working for her, and working in downtown at that time. Then she got ready to leave because the company that had bought the hotel, they had put in a bunch of work to it, completely revamped the hotel. Instead of it being a Bradford Suites, it was now a Hyatt Summerfield, which was a very nice hotel. So she had gone to another property, and This property was completely different. It was in North Dallas. So now I'm making the drive to North Dallas and I'm living somewhere else. You know what? I actually left some stuff out. I am so sorry, you guys. Let me go back. So when the hotel was purchased by the company that I'm telling you revamped it, when they purchased it, everybody that was staying there, employee-wise, had to move out. And it was me and one other person that would stay there off and on. We could no longer stay at the hotel because they wanted the rooms available to put more business clientele in. Okay, fine. That's fine. And the employee rate was really only supposed to be given so that, you know, it was like a perk of working in the hotel business. It wasn't meant for us to live on property. So I did end up moving out into an apartment. Well, actually it was a duplex because my landlord it was a house that was split into 2 apartments. My landlord lived on one side, I lived on the other. Well, when I got ready to move into this apartment, my boss actually went shopping for me and she was so sweet. I did not know she was gonna do it. And she bought me a bunch of like pots and pans, silverware to get started. She had money, okay? Like she lived in North Dallas, in a very like kind of bougie area. I'm telling you guys, if you don't know this area, girl, look it up. She lived in a bougie area, that's all I'm gonna say. Anywho, so she had a bunch of really nice furniture sitting in storage and she wasn't using it. And she's like, hey, you know, I got these really nice leather couches and this, you know, do you want to go over to my storage with me and check it out? Oh, okay. How much do you want for it? You know, I was willing to buy it. I had money saved up. And she's like, I don't want anything for them. So here's this lady treating me like family. I mean, what boss does this for you, you know? And so she helped me get the stuff for my first apartment. And if I needed stuff and my landlord was not like available or willing to do it, she would have the maintenance guys come over to my house and fix things for me. You know, I mean, I felt like we were super close. We went out to lunch all the time. We would go shopping together. We did all kinds of things together. She treated me like I was part of her family. I knew all about her children. I had met her children. I'd met her husband. When things were going on in her life, she would talk to me about them and confide in me. We would talk on my days off. I mean, we were as close as a boss and an employee can get. I mean, we were very close. So I trusted her, you know? So I want to make sure I don't leave anything out, you guys. So yeah, I mean, I trusted this woman wholeheartedly. She met my family the first or second year. I think it was the second year I was in Texas. And they stayed at one of our hotels. And my grandparents were there. My parents were there. She met all of them. And I remember the day my mom and all of them were leaving. My dad met her. And basically before he got ready to leave, he's like, take care of my baby. And she's like, oh, I will, you know, guard her with my life and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, here my parents are thinking that I'm in good hands. My boss and I are super tight. You know, I spoke the world to this lady. They knew that we were close. And I keep saying that because when we get to the end of the story, you're going to be like, what the hell? It's crazy. So, like, this chick... This bitch. Let's go back to when the hotel was bought out by a new company. So the hotel was bought out by a new company, like I told you guys before. And so her, myself, and a couple of the other employees went to another hotel that was owned by the same company that bought this new one. Because this hotel was basically in trouble. They needed help. And this was what we did. We moved around and we helped each other. You know what I'm saying? So a bunch of us went up to this hotel and we worked there for a while until the company purchased another property, and this property was in trouble. It needed help like you would not believe. Basically, the hotel was in receivership, and what that means is that the bank technically owns the property, but the management company still has to run it. So they needed help. Like, the GM that was there was just stealing money. It was just a hot ass mess. The place was falling apart. But yeah, it was a super big hotel off of Dallas Parkway. It needed help, so a ton of us went over there and we started working there. Well, that's when I got my first huge job promotion. So she calls me one day and she says, hey, how would you feel about being my assistant comptroller? I didn't know what the hell that was. So look, I'm on my computer, assistant comptroller. I'm like, damn, okay. So I just kind of froze because I was like, the only experience I had in accounting was auditing, which is basically, if you don't know, it is accounting for the day's receipts in the hotel. And basically the auditor does all of the work financially, and runs all the numbers and things like that, and corrects any mistakes that may have been made and things like that, so that when the GM comes in the next morning, there's a paper that they fill out. They just pull our numbers from the work that we did the night before. We basically do the work. And when they punch their numbers into that form, it basically all has to balance before they send it off to their corporate office if they're ran by a corporate office. I hope that makes sense. So when she was like, hey, how do you feel about being my assistant comptroller? She's like, you'll come in, work the front desk for about a week just because, you know, we need help, and then I'll promote you. And I was like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, I was so excited. Now, I did forget to mention, and I will just mention this. You know how I told you guys we were like super close and stuff? Like, this woman told me everything. Like, not to be funny, but I knew everybody's business when somebody got wrote up, fired. Before it happened, I knew. And I just thought she told me that stuff because we were tight, you know what I mean? And so, I mean, I couldn't believe she confided in me, but I feel like my whole life I've always been that person that people will confide in and tell stuff to, because I'm not going to repeat it, and they know that. They know that because they'll tell me stuff and it doesn't come back around to them. You know what I'm saying? I've just always been that person. And so she would do the same thing because she knew I wasn't going to repeat it, you know? Everybody got to have somebody to talk to, and I thought she was my friend, so because she acted more like my friend than my boss. So yeah, yeah, that's an important piece of information for the rest of the story, I feel like. Because this palette is pretty. So anywho, go over there. I work the hotel front desk for like literally a day or two, and I get my promotion right off the jump. Now, from over there, she brought over myself, one of the other front desk girls, no, wait, two of the other front desk girls that worked for her. Two of us worked for her down in Uptown. The other two girls from the front desk that came over worked in North Dallas. And then she also brought over the AGM to manage the front desk at that new hotel. So our whole crew is there. I think a few people were pissed off that I got the promotion, but I think you'll find out by the end of the story why I got the promotion. So, you know, some friendships had changed. Of course, I confided in her, like, you know, so-and-so is being different. I don't know why. Oh, don't worry about them, blah, blah, blah. They're just, you know, jealous, da-da-da-da-da. So I just kind of let it go, whatever, you know. All right, so it's like the first week of me being her assistant comptroller, and it's very, very busy in this office. You know, we're the only two people in the accounting office. Now, prior to us coming there was actually 3 people that worked in this office. 2 people worked in the back of the office. There was an accounts receivable person, an accounts payable person, and the comptroller. So basically, when I took over the job, I took over 2 jobs. Mind you, I only got paid for 1 job. I got paid for 1 job. And everything was a mess. I don't know what the hell was going on at this hotel. Side note, if you've never worked in the hotel business, a lot of hotel people are party. They crazy, they wild, they crazy. People that work in the hotel business can party like it's motherfucking 1999, okay? Like, that's what it is. And so it was a mess, you guys. Files were missing. Files were not up to date. It was like they never collected money. If they did collect the money, like, where the hell did it go? You know, the accounts were all off. Bills were not paid. I mean, I don't know. It's like they weren't doing anything. So I had my work cut out for me, and I only got training for about 30% of my job. And it was really hard because the assistant manager that came over to this hotel to be the front desk manager, she was very needy. In the sense that she was always coming in our office complaining about her job. And it's like, I liked her at the time, but it's like, dude, I'm trying to get trained here. Like, could you please go the away? Like, because if I don't get trained for my job, I'm gonna suck at it. So it came to the point where we started locking our office door, but then sometimes my boss would just be like, oh, can you go unlock that? And it's like, no, you're trying to train me, yo. Like, I need to know my job. So like I said, only got about 30% training. So when it came down to it, I taught myself a lot of the stuff that I knew. It was crazy, you guys. It was so crazy. And the whole time I'm learning stuff and then, you know, like telling my boss, you know, what I'm doing, because I gave her daily updates. Like, there was so much money that had not been collected, and I'm talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I was giving her updates on everything, like letting her know how much money I collected. I had to bust my ass to get in good with these businesses because some of the bills that were not paid were outstanding for like more than 2 years. And, you know, after so long, they don't have to pay it. So, yeah, I was able to go back and collect a lot of it. But then I ran into a much bigger problem. I found that their main account, which was, it's called CLC, it's corporate logistics, it's for truck drivers. And if you've ever worked in the hotel business and dealt with it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They are like a main account anywhere they go. They bring business. And if your hotel's doing business with them 9 times out of 10, they're taking up like 30-40% of your property with business because they don't play. And they had an account with them. This is the biggest account that they had with the least amount of income because for some reason people were not checking the people into the hotel properly. When you check in somebody that works for corporate logistics services, you have to check them in twice. There's an outside website that you have to use, a third-party website, and then you have to use the hotel system as well, and they kind of don't integrate like they should. So these people have a special card when they check in, and when you check them into the actual third-party website, you swipe the card, and then it checks them in there, and then you also check them into the hotel operating system. If you don't do that, that third-party company will not pay you for their stay. So then what happens is you have all of this money out here that cannot be collected because you don't have proof that they stayed there because you didn't check them into the third party stay. I hope that makes sense. So basically a lot of their hotel staff did not do that. So I had to go up to this room with all of these huge banker box files and dig. And I'm having to dig like 3 to 5 years back. It's crazy, but I did it, and I did it by myself. And so it was a good 6 months that I spent digging, and I would take these banker box files home with me, and I'd have this great big old list of everything that was outstanding from this account, and I'd be pulling all of the receipts that were signed, you know, making notes of ones that were not signed, because if it wasn't signed, guess what? I had no proof that they stayed there, you know? So there was so much money that had to get wrote off, but there was more money that I was able to collect. And so I spent the better part of 6 months doing this day in and day out. Some days I would go to work at 5 in the morning and I didn't get home till 9, 10 o'clock at night. So, and it's because not only did I have to spend the time doing that, but I had to make sure I was inputting things into our accounting system so that our bills got paid and it showed that they were paid. I still had to collect on all of the other accounts that we had business with, like Southwest Airlines and Time Warner and some days, I mean, some weeks I was working 6 days a week, and then it came to, well, you can't have overtime. Well, how the hell do you expect me to do this job then? I'm only one person. So 6 months go by and I noticed like a complete attitude shift in my boss. At first, you know, I would come in and every morning we would sit down and her and I would have our meeting. A lot of times we got interrupted between the sales department, the front desk manager coming and bitching, and it's like, dude. And I always felt like I was the one bothering my boss because I would notice shortly after I would come in the mornings, her attitude would change. And I'm just like, what's wrong with this chick? Whatever, you know, I just figured she was stressed, you know. There was a lot on our department and we were a 2-person party, so it was all on us. And so after a while of completing that project, you know, the check started to roll in. And as the check started to roll in, you get a check that's probably got a register that's this freaking long and the names are about that big. And it's, you have to go into the hotel system and go into this big ass file, you guys, that goes on. It's like the never ending file. And you have to sit at this computer and click on each name, and the name and the date have to match up. Sometimes there's duplicates in there, sometimes there's triples because people didn't do their job right. And so it would take me anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to post a check. She would get upset with me about that. She would get upset with me about taking a lunch break. Some days, you know, it was like, you don't have time to take a lunch break, but it was always okay for her to do those things, but not me. It got to the point where, you know, all the other departments would coming in bitching about whatever they wanted to bitch about, and then they would leave. Like, she would agree with them the whole time they were there, and they're disturbing me too, mind you, because the only door in our office, one is shut off by a safe and the other one goes to her office. So to go to my office, I have to walk through hers. So I have no door to shut, and I have these big stacks of paper literally all around me from the company that I was telling you guys about, the CLC stuff. I mean, you can barely see me when you walk into my office, and yet her people were walking into my office trying to make me part of the conversation that she's phony ass listening to, but then like I said, as soon as they'd leave, she'd start talking shit about them. And I'm like, you brought all these people over here. Damn, so are you talking shit about me too? You know, I started to wonder things. And then I'd start to notice her attitude of how she would treat other people. Like, her former assistant told me that, you know, she was like really belittling and she could never do anything right. And she just was always talking shit. You know what I mean? And like, I was like, oh, she'd never do that to me. Like, you know, we've been friends for years and she's been so good to me. And I started to see that shift, y'all. So she started to kind of treat me like shit too. And at first I took it. And then I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I do everything for you. So no. I would start to kind of give it back to her, but I wasn't like super disrespectful. I would just like make little remarks because she would talk shit to me about like, well, damn, you know, it took you long enough to go to the bank, woo, woo, woo. You drive in the afternoon traffic, like, you know how long it takes. It's not my fault. It's your job to go to the bank anyways. Like, you know, I was trying to help you out, but she would just always find something to bitch about, it seemed like. And then I noticed she would be really cold when I would come in some days too. So, you know, I'd ask her, you know, did you need help with anything? And I also knew at the time too that her husband had been re-diagnosed with cancer. So, you know, that was hard on her, you know. Some things were going on with one of her kids. And so I would try to help even though I had so much on my plate that it was like, I don't even know how I did it, you guys. I really don't. And so she just started to get like really, really weird to me. So I kept taking it and I was like, okay, whatever. Like, I'm just going to keep doing this job. Maybe I'll find something else. You know, maybe she's just going through a rough time. But it seemed like over the course of like a month, she just totally did like a complete shift. Like one day or like 1 minute she would be super sweet to me. And then the next minute she was talking to me like I was like the lowest scum of the earth or like I was stupid. And I was like, what is wrong with this bitch? I continued to go to work and do my job. I almost felt like I was in a really abusive relationship. You know what I mean? Like I would go to work, she would belittle me, but in really like slick ways, you know, like she wouldn't like my outfit that day or she wouldn't like my hair that day, which had nothing to do with my job performance. We're hidden away in an accounting office. Why did I have to wear business attire? Like nobody sees me. You know what I mean? The chef there and I became really good friends. He was on older African-American / but like mixed with Creole. And I'm a foodie, so him and I would talk food. So when he would come in, he would greet her or whatever. And then if he saw me working in my office, he would always come back, say hello. You know, hey Tash, you want blah, blah, blah for lunch? Cooking it up, throwing it down. And it was like she would get pissed off that if anybody came back there to talk to me. I don't know, you guys. It was almost like she had mood swings or something. Like, I don't know. I don't know what was wrong with this woman. It's just so weird to me. Like, everything. Like, none of it makes sense. So, I continued to put up with it for a couple more months. Not really thinking anything about it. Just, you know, whatever. She's got something up her ass. Okay, fine. Whatever. So, I took it. And then one day I just kind of didn't want to take it anymore. And I finally called her out on it. And I was like, you know, we've been really close for X amount of years now. And I've noticed lately that you're super short with me. You know, did I do something wrong? Is everything okay? Do you want to talk? Did I do something wrong? Because if you don't tell me, I can't correct it. Oh no, everything's okay. You know, just everything here starting to get to me. You know, corporate's really coming down on me. Now, mind you, I don't know if I mentioned this, but this bitch became best friends with the guy that was over the entire hotel in this corporate office. Like, his region was our hotel and a couple of the other ones in Dallas. So she became best friends with him. He was a gay guy, super, super nice, or at least I thought. And so she was like untouchable. So I noticed that he started coming around more. And I thought it was really weird because that corporate office was based out of Florida. We're in Dallas. So he started coming around more. And next thing I know, she's taking a 6-month leave to Arizona to help one of their hotels as their GM. But it was only for a little bit, supposedly. And so they asked me, you know, hey, can you move up to acting comptroller? We'll pay you a little bit more. You can get the experience. We'll put someone in here to take over your spot and help you so that you can do this while she's gone. And I was like, hell yeah, like, I want the experience. She had already taught me how to do her job because I would take over on days that she was off because that job had to be done, as well as mine. They were both important. So I accepted that, to do that. And I loved it because I thought, well, at first it was great. I'd go in at like 5 in the morning, which I love going in early, getting my day over with. And so I got to work her hours instead of mine, where I had to be there later and all kinds of bullshit. But I got that experience for 6 months. They screwed me over on my pay. Instead of getting the hourly wage that I was promised, I only got like $150 extra bonus on my check, which was bullshit because she made like almost 80 grand a year or more. And I know that because I had access to everything pay-wise because she also did payroll. So she was making a hell of a lot more money than me. And I was doing the majority of the work. So she did her little 6-month whatever. And while she was gone, I kept up my end. I did her job. And then I had a front desk staff that helped me out and did my job, or so I thought, while she was gone. Now again, mind you, I can only do so much. And there were days that they would come in and take the help from me because they were short-staffed at the front desk. So then my job suffered because I can't do both, unfortunately. So nobody stepped up and said anything. When she got back from her little 6-month thing, I had to go back and fix whatever wasn't done correctly in my own job. Plus, you know, stay on top of my daily stuff. I did it, and I did it the way she told me to do it. I did everything the way she told me to. So then, no, somewhere out of the blue, a large check came in, and we could not figure out where this check was supposed to go because the dates were screwed up in the system. We're still collecting back pay on this company. And I'm like, you know, this doesn't make sense. This is not what I billed for. I'm on the phone with the company trying to figure it out. The company can't figure it out, but they know they owe us the money. And so she says, just start taking them off the oldest ones, you know, since, I mean, none of this makes sense. So let's just get rid of the oldest debt and it'll bring us more current, and then we'll start doing that with all the checks. And I was like, we can't do that. And she's like, I told you to do it. And I'm like, but if somebody comes in here and audits this, how do we explain it? She's like, that's not gonna happen. All right, y'all, so sorry about that. My camera keeps dying. So I'm still arguing with her. Now, mind you, I've never, ever went against my boss. I've always trusted her. She's always taken good care of me. But this time I'm like, no, dude, like, I'm an auditor. I would find it. I'm like, somebody is going to find that. And then I'm going to be up shit creek. And she's like, finally she gets mad at me and she looks at me and goes, are you stupid or something? I have Scott wrapped around my little finger. Well, good for you. I don't. I said, then you do it. So she takes over my computer. I go on break and outside and smoke because I'm pissed off that she's even asking me to do this because I know better. Like, I come back in, come to my senses, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. You know, because I was disrespectful as hell. I just snapped on her, you guys. And her and I, like I said, have always been super close. You know, I thought, here's a lady that has had my back more times than I can care to count, and she would never do me like that. So I do my job, we're good, everything is going good. She apologizes for snapping on me, and I do what was told to me to do. So I would say like a month-ish goes by. Everything is still all good. And then she calls me at home and says, hey, they've offered me, you know, to go down to Arizona again and finish helping with the hotel. I'm going to be their GM for a while. Are you interested in taking my spot and making more money? And I was like, girl, hell yeah. Like, I thought, wow, you know, she's really looking out for me. And then she had also said, you know, if this becomes permanent you can come down to Arizona with me. Now, mind you, I'm dating somebody at the time. We're living together. It's getting serious. We're engaged, yada, yada, yada. And so I was just like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. She still did not know that we were dating because she couldn't stand the person. And she was just, you know, kind of in my business like that. That part I didn't like. But anywho, that's a whole nother story. So she's getting ready to leave for a couple of months to go down there, help out, whatever. So I'm like, oh, okay, you know, like, that's cool. Like, thank you so much for the opportunity. I said, last time they kind of screwed me, though. They didn't give me, you know, what was agreed upon. And so she's like, you don't worry about that. I will take care of it. You know, she's like, she couldn't stand the current GM that was there. And so she was like, you don't worry about it. So-and-so and I had dinner last night. Some shit's about to change around here. Keep your nose clean. You know, stick with me and do what I tell you and you'll be fine. She's like, I got you. She's like, but some shit's about to change. That bitch ain't gonna be here much longer. And so I'm like, girl, what? So she spills the tea and tells me what's going on. She's getting ready to get fired. They're gonna bring so-and-so in. But that's why, you know, I got you back here and I'm gonna have you doing this so that you're not, you know, doing this and in the mix of this, this, and this. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. Thank you. You know, whatever, whatever. She's always treated me like family. She's always had my back, so I didn't think anything of it. So my first week or two in her spot's going good. I'm bumping and jumping. All my reports are done. I'm getting my work done early. And all of a sudden, her AGM that she had brought over, that's now the front desk manager, starts whining because, you know, her go-to's gone out of town, and then she start coming into my office whining all the time. I got too much work to do, girl. Like, I have a trainee back here. I'm trying to train and still do part of my old job. I'm doing her job. I'm swamped. I ain't got time for this shit. And now I have a new GM because they fired the old one. So now I have him in here all the time, you know, trying to make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yet now he wants me to explain, you know, the new process to him because they did a completely different report. Some stuff's going to change, you know, so I'm going through changes too. Well, then she starts whining so bad about her job and how things are so messed up and blah, 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 that she wants my job. And I'm like, bitch, I ain't giving up my job. I have worked so hard to get the job that I have now. I'm not giving up my job. So, my boss calls me one night. Mind you, she's still in Arizona. And she's like, look, why don't you go ahead and go back to doing your job. You know, I appreciate all that you've done for me. You are amazing. Yada, yada, yada. She goes, some more shit is about to go down. And I don't want you in that seat. I want you to go back to doing your job. And I was like, why though? Like, why would I be in a hot seat or in the mix or what have you? Like whatever. Like, what's going on? And she's like, they are bringing in people from another property, another hotel, to start looking into some of the stuff that happened at the hotel before we got there. And I'm like, oh, okay. I understand that, you know, whatever. So I go back to doing my job. Dumbass is now in the job that I should have, that I worked so hard to get. And she has no idea what she's doing. And so every little bit, she's bothering me. And I'm like, I finally told her because I got pissed off. I'm like, you wanted my job, you got it. So why did you want a job that you couldn't do? Like, I don't have time to train you. You know, you need to be asking the GM. You know, that you wanted the job, you learned the job. So she was kind of pissy with me and had an attitude and I don't want to fight with you and blah, 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 blah. Dude, you took my job from me. Like, so anyway, other people come in from the hotels that work with the same company that we do, and they come to help out because, you know, it's just, things are a mess around there. So I think they're coming to help out at the front desk. These people came to help out with the accounting department. So now I'm in a hot seat. So the GM is now questioning me, along with the guy from corporate that homegirl has her finger, or wrapped around her finger, and they're wanting to know what's going on with the CLC account. Why is blah 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 still outstanding? And why do these checks still have this, and this outstanding when the check register right here says that they should be paid? No, this bitch did not. You mean to tell me that you got homeboy wrapped around your little finger, but you didn't know that they were going to come in there and ask me that shit, bitch? Yes, you did. So, I kind of pardoned myself without giving any answers because I don't want to lie. And so, I excuse myself. I go to my car, and at this time, I'm smoking. Y'all know I smoked about 5 cigarettes on the phone with her. And I said, what the do you want me, like, what am I supposed to say? Like, I'm not gonna lie. And so she's tripping. They got telling me not to trip. Everything's gonna be fine. You know, just go tell them this, and this. She wanted me to lie. And I'm like, I'm not gonna do that. Like, I mean, I didn't tell her that the second time. I just was going back and forth in my head. Finally, I called my mom. And I'm like, Mom, this is what's going on. This bitch did this, and I don't know what to do. Like, do I tell the truth? Are they gonna believe me? She's friends with so-and-so. Like, I'm gonna lose my job. And so my mom's like, no, don't lie. Go tell the truth. And I'm like, yep, I'm going to tell the truth. So I told the truth. Of course, the look on the GM and the corporate guy's face was, they thought I was like lying, of course. I'm like, dude, I have no reason to lie. I've been with this woman for 6-7 years at this point. I have no reason to lie to you. Like, why would I do that? I'm an auditor. Like, I've been an auditor for more than 10 years. I told her it was gonna get found. And what am I supposed to do? Like, was I supposed to throw her under the bus right then and there? You still wouldn't have believed me. So I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't. So her and her friend, this is the Revolution Body Veil Face and Body Foundation, if you're still here. Her friend calls me into the room, and he's like, you know, so tell me again what you were telling me. Like, he's interested. Like, he wants to know what the hell happened. And I'm still getting the vibe that he does not believe me. And I just told him the truth. She said, do this. You know, it would be fine. We had to get this paid off. Blah, 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 blah. You know, you guys wouldn't find it. And what really burned my ass was that I knew her a lot longer than he did. They had only been friends since, what, a couple years prior to that. And he didn't believe me. And I'm just like, dude, I have no reason to lie to you. Like, I've worked for her for the last 6-7 years. I know her a lot better than you do. I don't have a reason to lie to you. He, of course, did not believe me. And he made me think like he did. But I know as soon as I left that room, I know that he called her. Because she called me that night and was pissed off that I told them that. And so she basically told them a huge lie that she had no knowledge of it. I did everything. And they still let me stay, like, because they basically wanted to use me to dig out all the old files so that all this stuff could be corrected. And I know, you guys, I'm stupid. I should not have trusted her. But I did not know that. Like, I was young then. I was in my early 20s. This was my first huge job, and I was so proud to have it. Like, I never in a million years thought that somebody that treated me like family like this, and, you know, that took me under their wing and gave me my first big break, like, I never in a million years thought that she would throw me under the bus. Never. Ever. Like, so basically what happened is I stayed and helped them for a couple of weeks. And once they figured out what they needed to figure out, which was the job that I had been working on, that she basically told me to do this way, they fired me. Like, they called me into the office one day and, you know, basically told me that they did not believe that she would tell me to do that. You know, she's been a GM for years. Just so you guys know, this is like super light. I'm gonna make it work though. They didn't have my shade. I did apply a shade adjuster from Physicians Formula because it doesn't change the formula. But yeah, they basically told me that she'd been a GM for years. Like, why would she tell you to do that? And dude, I don't know, but she did, and I did what I was told. You know, this woman was vicious. I'd seen her do some pretty shisty shit, and I didn't want to lose my job. So I did what I was told. Alright, y'all, so my batteries don't want to stay charged. So I'm gonna have to wrap the story up. Long story short, bitch did me dirty. Basically made me take the fall for her, which I think was bogus. I did everything for her. And the girl that she put in the back office with me, the reason I got fired is because this bitch basically told them that I wouldn't help her with anything. And it wasn't that I wouldn't help her with anything, it's that you brought your ass in my department and took my job from me, and then I still had to keep up on my job. Plus, you now want me to do yours? Figure it out. You know, I helped her as much as I could, but I couldn't do both jobs. Plus, I had all of those corporate people up my ass, you know, I mean, it just wasn't feasible. And so, basically, that's what she told them. I did not get fired for the Mary thing, which I just said her name. I did not get fired for that, supposedly, but I don't trust them at that point. Like, y'all did me dirty. I never should have been let go for that stuff. I did what I was told, and I was a good employee. I came to work, I did my job and then some, and when I got let go, oh-wee, my friends there were not happy. She ended up taking homegirl out to, what is that place? Arizona with her, and then another front desk employee, which I'm still kind of friends with. We talk every now and again. I could not believe she let me take the fall for that, you know? Like, who does that to somebody that you care about? And as far as I know, she was still with the company 5 years ago when Facebook tried to refer us as friends. We will never be friends. I will never trust you again. You know, I prayed for her because the Lord don't like ugly, and I prayed that he had mercy on her for what she did. But she apparently was very shisty like that to a lot of people. I had learned that one of our previous mutual friends, she did him dirty, and I never found out about it until years later when I'd already moved back home. Wow, man, people are really dirty, you guys, and it's just mind-blowing, you know, that people will literally step on who they have to step on because they screwed up or whatever it is, you know? So anyways, yeah. She did me dirty, and that girl that she put back in the office with me did me dirty because, you know, she wasn't happy or whatever, and she was just never happy, ever. Like, all she did was bitch. Like, when she had her at the North Dallas location, she bitched a lot. She's just never happy. One of those people, you know? And so it blew my mind that she took her out to Arizona with her, because, like, why do you want to sit and listen to somebody bitch like that all the time? Either do your job or go find something else, you know? I actually loved my job at that time, but it really messed with me mentally, because after that point, it took me a lot to be able to trust a boss. Like, my last boss, I have known her for a very, very long time. She was friends with my grandparents when they were alive, and so she knew my family, and I only knew of her, but I put up a wall before I would trust her, and we're still friends to this day. Unfortunately, she works a lot, I'm busy a lot, and so we haven't seen each other since the pandemic started, and it's heartbreaking because I love her so much, and I know that when whatever happened at the mental health institution, when I lost my job there, like, I know that she did everything to keep my job because she cared about me, you know, genuinely cared about me. And we were very, very close. But, you know, people are nasty, you guys. They're just very, very nasty people. And it's just mind-blowing to me that that woman did me like that. Like, it takes me a very long time to trust now. A very long time to trust. But I'm going to go ahead and speed through this so that you guys can see the finished makeup look if you're still here. If you're not, well, thanks for watching. I hope that you at least got to see the story time. I'm glowing. I'm glowing. I'm glowing. All right, y'all. So here we are. Back again. Back at it again. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Just playing. So yeah, this is the final look that I came up with doing my makeup and story time. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna get better as things progress and I get used to telling stories. I've just never been a really good storyteller. A lot of times I feel like people aren't listening, so I kind of start to talk in circles, but I will get better. Just stick with me. If you guys are curious about anything that I used on my face that I did not show you today, please check that description box. I will have everything listed down below, as well as links that will take you directly to it. I do want to thank all of you who use my links to shop. Oh, you guys, I appreciate you so much. It doesn't make a lot, I'll be honest with you, but every little bit helps. It really helps support the channel, so thank you so, so much. If you are new here, hey, hi, hello, hey girl, hey. My name is Tash. I hope that before you leave today, you will join us, hit that subscribe button. I want to know down below, what is one of your top worst things that a boss has ever done to you? It can be big, it can be small. I want to know because I'm nosy for one, and for two, just people are grimy, you know, and I don't obviously want this to turn into like a negative post. You know, the past is the past and we grow from experiences like this. So, you know, you got to take it with a grain of salt and move on from it, because people are always going to be people and sometimes they suck. But I'm just curious, so yeah, go ahead and leave yours down below if you will. If you enjoyed today's video and you want to see more story time and makeups or makeup and story time, then please smash that like button. It literally takes a few seconds, and it not only makes a difference to me whether or not you hit the thumbs up and comment, but it makes a difference to YouTube. So if you want the videos to be seen and you want our community to grow, then please take the time to do that. I appreciate you guys so, so much as always for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with me, and I love you guys so, so much. You guys take care of yourselves, stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.